So QuickBooks Online has already rolled out an update to their backdated bills and backdated invoices feature. Now, this is, depending on how you want to look at it, both a pro and a con of working within the cloud-based accounting software, okay? So on the one hand, we see that they are receiving feedback and making changes to improve the feature. On the other hand, again, they are famous for just rearranging the furniture constantly. So all of these changes, all of these updates that are rolled out, we have to adapt and roll with them, right? So some of the things that I had discussed in my original video, which I had recorded at the end of May, posted the 1st of June, are already out of date, including the fact that you couldn't have a description or a memo on your bill or your invoice. You couldn't assign a number to a bill. And you could for an invoice, but that also has changed. And on top of that, you couldn't add an attachment to this backdated feature. Well, all of that has now been resolved and you can do that. So let's go ahead and look at what the screen looks like now compared to what it looked like previously. So before, you had a very, very stripped down version, and it was just you entered the vendor, the account, or yes, the account, expense account or income account that you wanted associated with the transaction. And that was pretty much it. You gave it very bare bones information. Let's go look at it now. So if we go into bank transactions here, and then select again from the little caret all the way to the very right of our screen, create a backdated bill. We are now seeing a lot more information here. So we can now add a memo for what the item is for. We can assign a bill number to this transaction, and we can upload attachments, okay? So again, a cool thing here, if you're uploading attachments, if you want to go and browse for one, you can do so by uploading an attachment. But similar to the bank feed, you can also just drag and drop the attachment anywhere into this box and have it pop up, okay? So this is an improvement in a lot of ways. We can automatically get more information into this screen than we could previously. That being said, some of the additional things that I was cautioning about in the original video do still stand. So when you do this particular transaction, when you walk through this process, you create the accounts payable or accounts receivable process and you complete it all in one single step. So when you do it this way, you create the invoice or the bill, you pay the invoice or the bill, and you post this transaction, matching it all together from your bank feed. This is phenomenal. This is great. And especially for those, like I said, one-off transactions, if you are usually using QuickBooks for accounts payable or an accounts receivable, and you just forgot to enter one, this can be really phenomenal and it can really cut down on the time you spend on data entry. However, we still want to exercise a lot of caution for a couple of reasons. One, and this is still something that has not been fixed. Maybe it will be fixed in the future. We'll find out together. You can only assign one income or expense category to this transaction, okay? So this only works for transactions that only have one expense category or one income category. If you are splitting things out between multiple expense categories, this is not going to work for you. So for this particular example, this is a rent payment. It is just rent, but let's go ahead and look at a different transaction. If I were doing my insurance transaction right here, and this insurance transaction happens to be split out between auto insurance and liability insurance, this is something where I actually could not use that backdated feature. Because again, if I say create a backdated bill, I only have the ability to select one category, and this technically goes into two different categories. So that is something to keep in mind. The other side of this is that since we are still completing that full accounts payable or accounts receivable cycle in one fell swoop, if we make edits to any of the elements of that, if we recall the transaction from the bank feed, if we delete the payment, we have to finish out the rest of that cleanup. So we might have to delete the invoice or the bill. We might have to go back in and mark it as paid once it does actually have the payment received against it. So there are definitely still things to consider when going through this process, but QuickBooks did go in and create elements and add elements to this that make it more holistic and more like the process that you would go through if you were entering a bill or entering an invoice, where you can provide supporting documentation and all of that. So that is really wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Holly from Accrual Mistress Bookkeeping and Consulting. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to leave any questions in the comments section below. I absolutely will.